Hi everyone, it's Shaw from STK Markets. We're joined again with Hannan Metals. It's like deja vu. We had some really good news last week on Peru. Those assets are looking amazing. The hit rate there, 148 of 148 samples where we've hit gold again and again and again. That project just looks amazing. But we've got Mike Hudson here today. There's another update to the market. It takes me back to the Southern Cross days where it was Mawson, Sunday Creek. We've now got Peru and another project coming out in Sweden. But I'd just like to say Mawson's gone through the moon. Sunday Creek, as we know, has gone multi-billions. Mike, you just keep making people money, and it looks like you're going back to your playbook and doing it again.
Thanks, Sean. Well, that's the aim, of course. That's what we're here for. I love discovery. I love high-grade gold, but my single job in the public markets is to make every decision about making a higher share price.
Mike, you've done that by spades, whether it's through your comments that you don't have enough, you can't get access to placements if you don't own shares. You've built very good registers over the years, and Hannan, Southern Cross more, so they're not your first rodeos. You've been finding high-grade projects for years. You've made many multi-bag companies. Unfortunately, we only met you 5 years ago, and mate, the success has just been outstanding. I know you're very accomplished. But you're looking like you've got another Sunday Creek. Can we just go to Sweden? It's high grade. It's right next to a massive mine like Southern Cross was. It looks exactly the same what you've done with Mawson you're doing here again, where you've just found another amazing project with high grade, which is what we love.
Well, let's step back just one tad. And you talked about Peru up front there. This is not a pivot from Peru, clearly not a pivot. The issue with Peru is timing. And we're making amazing strides in Peru, making this massive discovery, 5 by 5 kilometers. We've got this core area that just keeps delivering. We've gone through a public participation meeting, which is the last step to our drill permitting. But drill permitting will take us probably 6 months, and we're just about to apply for that, which will be towards the end of the year. Then that's the wet season. So even if we get it in that time frame, we're not drilling until Q2 when there's no cloud and rain in that part of Peru. So we saw this gap structurally in the company. We love momentum. We're in a bull market. We know how to make discovery. We know Sweden, and we identified through some friends that we knew in Sweden, they held these very high-grade gold projects, and we were able to do a deal with them. And the analogues are important here. We're not just going into just a couple of projects and trying to put a hole under something and hoping to find something. This is contextual. So we're in 20 kilometers, to be specific, from Europe's greatest gold mine, which was the Boliden mine that started that major mining house that is the Swedish company Boliden itself. It was over 4 million ounces at 15 grams. We're 20 kilometers from that on the same structure with the same rocks with grades up to 93 grams gold at surface. The system's open over kilometers, and that's only one of 3 projects that we've done a deal on in Sweden. We've got $6 million in the bank. It's going to take us $2.5 million over the next year to continue the momentum in Peru, all the geologists de-risking that project. And we've got the opportunity to do something here that's low cost, drill ready. The drill rig will be there in a couple of weeks. Sweden is an amazing place. Unlike Peru, you can permit projects for drilling in Sweden in literally weeks, and that's what's being done here. So a very compelling reason to add projects. One of our major investors, when we crossed him over the line just recently, said you're adding projects at half time while you're waiting for the full-time siren in Peru.
Mike, it's just fantastic. You've got a lot of large investors invested into Hannan Metals, as you have in Southern Cross. But I just want to have a look at these projects in Sweden. Where they mined previously, like they're not just, I mean, they're sort of green field projects, but they're not in a way that I mined many years ago. Like we saw with Sunday Creek, the old timers mined it, they stopped because they either got to the water table or something like that. They couldn't continue because of technology. Now with new technology, and I think diamond drilling was developed in Sweden, funnily enough we've got this new way to mine. Is there gold there previously? Do we know that there has been gold deep down?
Well, you brought up a very interesting part of history. For those who know me, I love the history of mining and understanding projects, because that's exactly what's very important when you go into a district or a new project. You've got to understand the history to understand the context of what you're working on. Diamond drilling was invented in the Skellefteå field, which is where Stavaträsk is. EM, electromagnetics, the fundamental basis behind metal detecting, let alone the big metal detectors we make, but that are kilometre by a kilometre, was developed in the Skellefteå field. So an amazing part of history in terms of that mining history. I've talked about Stavaträsk, which is the first project that we're going to drill. That's a long strike from Boliden, which is a mine. There's dozens of mines within probably a 50-kilometre radius. But Stavaträsk is a grassroots target, gold sticking out of the ground, but never been mined. Now, the second project, which I think you're referring to, is way down south, and it's called Ådelfors, and it was mined from the 1700s. It was Sweden's first gold mine. It's never seen a drill hole. They were mining up to 1,000 grams. There's old historic records there. They mined on a thin vein that they mined down to something like 280 meters, which is incredible for the day. And I'm yet to see the mining style there, but I bet it was they just used to heat logs against the wall, and that would make the rocks brittle. Then they'd throw water on it, and that would shatter the rocks. That was the mining style in the day. So amazing history again. There's hundreds of historic workings around that one mine at Ådelfors that have been scratchings over the years, but never a drill hole, like I say. So the secret here will be to find multiple veins, the low-grade halos around those very high-grade veins. So very much a Sunday Creek story there, going under historic mining. That, at least in Sunday Creek's point of view, there was never a deeper hole than 3 years ago than the 1880 hole that was on that project. And in a way, you could think of Ådelfors as very similar. We're not that smart. We just look for gold where they found it before and go under with new modern technology, essentially.
Which is a big de-risking event. When you know it's already there, you're going deeper like you've done. It just creates a lot of value. So you've got the permits in hand. You've got the drill bit ready to start spinning. You've lined this up very nicely. There's no big waits for rigs to get mobilised. You're literally about to go with news flow coming from this project while we wait for the mother lode, which is Peru, to come through next year.
Yeah, well, what we didn't want was to announce a set of projects that were waiting for drill permits like we are in Peru. So we needed to solve one problem, which was be ready to drill on some project. So that's why we only made the deal conditional on drill permits being gained. It only took 4 weeks to gain the drill permit in Sweden. It's an amazing jurisdiction. I've had decades working there. I found a little gold mine. I found the world's largest dysprosium project with my business partner, Mark Saxon, there, and my colleagues. We restarted a graphite mine to produce 1/6 of Europe's graphite. So we know Sweden very well, and we know lots of people there. We know how the jurisdiction works. And today it's working very, very well.
So you've got the team on the ground moving there. You've got a couple of geos moving from Peru just to create efficiencies and costings.
Zach Tershwell, who's the exploration manager, an amazing young man who will run these companies very soon. He's just got the verve to be more than just a technical person, and he's now doing a lot of the marketing, and of course I'm essentially just chairing this company now, and Zach's taking on the running of it. So he will run both Peru and Sweden. The vendors, who we know well, are geologists, and they can help run the projects in Sweden. So it's a turnkey operation. We don't have to go and restart anything or find people. It's all ready and well staffed.
How does the timing work in Sweden? Are you doing deep holes? How long will the drilling campaign last? Then getting results, because obviously news flow's paramount. Like that, you don't need any money. That's the key thing here. You're not asking for money. You're well funded with the treasury. So the only way to get shares or get exposure, if you want to add to your position, is to buy on market, and that's very important. There is no other way to get stock. What if people were to buy shares now? How long until they start seeing news flow coming through from the drill bit?
Very soon. The deal is 1 million shares after 2 kilometers of drilling, and it's staggered between 1 kilometer and 2 kilometer, those share tranches. So we need to know that we've got something of substance to start issuing equity, very valuable equity of Hannan into the hands of these vendors. So we will be rushing assays through to make sure we know that. So I'd say, drilling will start within a couple of weeks. We'll know and have a turnaround of probably 4 to 6 weeks, depending on the speed of the drilling, before we have some initial answers.
So we're not talking long at all. So in this market where the price is obviously pulled back with the war and what's happening overseas, the geopolitical tensions, gold's had a bit of a breather too. It does create a very good buying opportunity for Hannan, for investors. I mean, we got in at 75 in our initial investment, currently trading in the 50s. Before this announcement comes out, there's volatility every day. But this news flow, this extra news, like with Southern Cross, if you hit the mother lode, and this is the key thing about these deposits, you've already got the high grade. I remember with Southern Cross, we were right next to Fosterville, and that's how we sold that story. And look how well it went. You've got 4.5 million tonnes at 15. You've got all that gold sitting there on outcropping, putting in some drill holes. If we hit it on one of the first or two, second or third holes, this thing could go bananas like Southern Cross did. The volume just comes from nowhere. And the market just really buys it up, particularly with your history of over the last not many decades, I'm going to say you're too old, but you've got a long track record, Mike, of delivering, delivering, delivering. So it's exciting times.
That it is. The analog is 4 million ounces at 15 grams, 20 kilometers from us, Boliden. So it's got a great analog. It's got scale, it's got grade, and it's drill ready. It doesn't get much better than that.
Is it far from everything, or is everything close by so you can make it work, just like you've got with Sunday Creek?
Yeah, no, Sweden's an amazingly sophisticated yet sparsely populated place. So there's networks of forest roads through all these areas. So literally that 93-gram outcrop was found when a road was made going across at a forestry road. So lots of very cheap power, amazingly skilled people, and ability to get on the ground and drill very quickly. It is a very, very good, and I'd argue one of the best places to explore globally, actually. I think Sweden, in terms of its prospectivity, it's been completely underdone, and you can get on the ground quickly. Very cheap to hold tenure, so you're putting money in the ground, not just holding tenure at high cost. So there's some very compelling reasons, lots of great data to leverage off that the state has collected. So it's a very good jurisdiction, and I'm amazingly happy to be back there. And it's a natural hedge to the nature of Peru. Peru is amazingly frustrating, but has amazingly large systems. That is where some of the biggest mines in the world are. So we've got a natural geopolitical hedge with gold being the major focus in Hannan.
We saw what you did in Finland with Mawson, where you stepped out to Victoria with Sunday Creek, and that went bananas. It looks exactly the same. That's gone really well as well. So you don't drop these projects. That's a multi-million ounce system, I believe, and that's going tremendously well. You still push them, you still make money for investors, which is the whole key thing. And you're a large shareholder yourself, Mike.
Well, that's the aim. There's nothing more thrilling than discovery, and there's no more thrilling thing around discovery than the value it can create overnight.
Well, I think you've got Zach doing a tremendous job. We've interviewed him several times, met him quite a few. He's been your protege, the next Indiana Jones, going out there and discovering, traveling the world and making share prices run. So, Mike, I know you're really busy. You've got a lot of calls today with Zach, jumping on with other ones. So, thank you so much for your time to let our investors get this update. It's just very exciting and news flow imminent, which is just perfect.
Amazing, Sean. Thanks to you and all your the people that follow you. Very much appreciated.